friends and family members and people we care for, our relatives, our friends, and yeah, go invite as many people as you can. We're going to keep on talking about, what was it, about love. We're going to keep on talking about knowing God and understanding God. Knowing and understanding God through love. So knowing and understanding God through love, you see, the whole idea why we are doing what we are doing is about the knowledge of God. Nothing better, nothing greater, nothing supreme to not the knowledge of God. We did a program today with Dr. Anu Ojo, and he mentioned something which is a very important thing, because he said the knowledge of God and personal relationship with God is not always taught in our churches in Nigeria. He knows a lot about Nigeria, that's where he comes from. So, and he's been in church all his lives. But so that's why it's important that we are teaching this. And I'm thinking I'm even going to teach even more about this, about how to build a relationship with Jesus as well. I think that's another aspect of the knowledge of God that people must know. And maybe I should also teach about how to build relationship with the Holy Spirit, or how to hear the voice of God. I think I might need to bring in those dimensions to this series on knowing God. I'm just afraid it might be too long or too much. Yeah, but anyway. So, but the topic of today is, so knowing and understanding God is the general topic, but today's topic is why we need to see positives in others. Why we need to see positives in others. You know, this is a big challenge to all of us. And the challenge is, you are either seeing somebody and looking out for their negatives, or you are looking out for their positives. But the bigger challenge is to be able to look at somebody who has hundreds or thousands or a bunch of negatives, and be able to focus on not the negative but the positive part of them. That is actually, that's what this book teaches. This book is a book that is absolutely exceptional, and everybody needs to read this book. If you have not read this book, you've not read any of my books. The Law of Difference. This is going to be one of the most important books you will ever read. The Law of Difference is called. The Law of Difference. So, but because it teaches you how to do that. So, learning why we must see positives in others. Why we must see positives in others. That, I think, why should be because God Himself doesn't look out for the negatives in us. Do you think when God is looking at you, is looking and doing forensic research and forensic search on you to find out what are the evil things you have done and what are the wrong things that you did the last night? Do you think God is out there, with a torchlight, trying to look into your dark places and, find out why you are not fit, why you are not good enough? Do you think that's what God is busy doing? I don't think so, because that story of the woman that was caught in adultery points out and teaches us how God looks at people who have frailties, who have sin, people who are not perfect. That picture, that shows us how God looks at people, because the woman for sure was a sinner. She was definitely, maybe Galina, can you come? That woman was caught in the act. So the lady was caught in the act. So there is no denying the fact that she was actually involved in immorality. But then, the surprising thing about that story is that the rebuke of Jesus was not directed at her. Jesus' rebuke was directed at those people who were accusing her. So in Jesus' eyes, the fact that they were accusing her, that sin of accusation is more weighty. It's a more heavier sin than whatever she has done. That pointing of accusing fingers is more deadly than the sin of the lady herself. And then at the end of the conversation, even when Jesus had set her free from those people's attacks, somebody called in, I think it was Paul from India who called in one time and said, what he would have done as a pastor and what he expected most pastors today to have done is that, okay, all your accusers, he said, where are your accusers? He said, my accusers are not nowhere to be found. They have all disappeared. So Jesus was supposed to say, okay, you see your accusers are gone now. Now let me talk to you. That you did something wrong and you did this, you did this. Let me now scold you. Let me now rebuke you. At least not to disgrace you publicly, but let me rebuke you in private. Everybody will expect, even me probably I would have done that. Everybody will expect Jesus to at least do that. Even if you, Jesus, don't want to condemn her, but won't you correct her for what she did? But believe it or not, Jesus never rebuked her directly. Jesus never sat her down and he never started lecturing her. Don't you know that it's written in the law of Moses that you shouldn't do this? Don't you know that adultery is a sin? Can't you know that? Why should you do that? You are a married woman. Why should you go and... So what will you do with your husband now? Maybe your husband should just divorce you. Maybe your husband should just let you go. You don't deserve to be married. Okay, let's see. Go and confess to your husband or go and repent or go and... or what led you into it? Who did you sleep with? What did he do? Did he give you something? Did he... No talk, no conversation. Jesus himself, and who is Jesus, by the way? Jesus is the person that came to the earth to reveal to us God in all fullness. Jesus came to reveal God to us. That is, Jesus reveals to us God's response, God's reactions. So if you want to know how God will react, look at how Jesus reacted. Jesus was actually much more aggressively against Pharisees, Sadducees, who were hypocrites, than he responded to prostitutes, tax collectors, people who are, in our own eyes today, big sinners. And Jesus said, it's not what comes out of a person's, it's not what a person eats that defies him, but what comes out of him. So what I'm saying is, you see, the topic today is why we need to see positives in others. So we are talking of a situation whereby a lady, somebody is totally immersed in sin. She's at fault. She's guilty. So how do we see those kind of people who are guilty in our own eyes? How do we look at people like that who are totally faulty, who are unexcusable, you could say? So this is an example of such a case. Someone who is guilty, unexcusable. And Jesus didn't use the opportunity to scold her, to rebuke her, to scorn her. He extended grace. He extended understanding. So what I'm trying to say is that even when someone is, in our own eyes, totally evil, it is godly not to emphasize or focus on the evil that the person is doing. Don't emphasize, don't focus on the wrong that the person is doing, but rather focus on the 1% out of the 100%. Let's say she 99% evil, 99% guilty. From Jesus' example, we could see that God will rather focus on the 1% that is good, not paying attention to the 99% that is evil. Why? Because God is a God of love. And what does love do? Love covers multitude of sin. Love covers multitude of sin and focuses on one good future in somebody. But when you lack love, when you don't know love, you know what you will do? Someone will have 99% positive. You will look inside that person to look at the 1% that is evil, 1% that is bad. You will look at the 1% that is bad. You will neglect all the 99% good things that she has. So you will be looking for the 1% where she's not perfect. That is what we would rather do. And when anybody does that, and anybody who does that, that is a proof to you and I that that person lacks love. It is lack of love that wants you to be focusing on people's failures, on people's sins, and on people's imperfections. Now, I'm not talking about doctrinal issues, you know. Even though this is on personal matters. This is on private life issues. When it comes to doctrine, though, Jesus did the opposite. Jesus was very strong. Jesus will actually go into the temple and physically beat people out of there. That's when it comes to doctrines and practices. But when it comes to individual believers' lives, she is God's servant. She is a believer in God. She works with God in her own way, and she resolves a problem with God. I don't touch her, and we don't judge people's personal lives. So he has his own lifestyle, but my own thing, we as Christians, we are supposed to be seeing the way God sees. And how does God see? God saw a woman who was caught in adultery, but God was seeing not as sin, but focusing on forgiveness. God was focusing on mercy. God, the only thing Jesus told her, where are your accusers? Number one. Number two, go and sin no more. No emphasis on the sin. Number one, where are your accusers? That is giving a protection. Where are your accusers? I am not one of them who are your accusers. I am not accusing you. So since I'm not accusing you, I'm your defender. I'm your protector. I'm on your side. That is strong for a woman. I just remembered now a very terrible scenario that I saw video on Facebook the other day, whereby a woman was caught. Maybe she stole something or something like that, and the whole street gathered together. Africa is just, this was happening outside of the church. And the old streets, I'm sure some of them were believers. They gathered and stripped the lady naked as if they are without sin. I don't know why. It is not in the nature of women to be disgraced. I just want men to understand this. It is anti-nature that women should be disgraced. It is not. Okay, we men, right? We think men shouldn't be disgraced. That's what men are thinking of. My wife rebuked me or corrected me in public. A man shouldn't be disgraced. There is a man now. You don't talk about, he's a man now. But women, the way they disgrace women in Africa, the way they humiliate women. But let me tell you, women are more sensitive 14 times more than men. So if you will say something to me, let's say you will say to me, if you will say to me, Pastor, you are foolish, or Sunday, you are foolish. Okay, I will just say that's your opinion. Maybe it pain me. Okay, well, I know I'm not foolish, I'll go. But if you go and tell a woman like that, she is going to suffer from that phrase for the whole day. And I tell you, beyond the whole day, that thing will not leave her for the whole week. And I tell you, beyond the whole week, she will still be, it depends on who says it, of course. But if the person who said it also is somebody that she knows, or somebody that she's supposed to protect her, and now he's saying that, the husband or the family member, oh man, you are killing that girl. You are killing that girl alive. Or if you go and tell her, you are not beautiful. You are not beautiful. If you tell a girl she's not beautiful, not you, you are very beautiful today. Your dress is nice. But I'm just saying, if you tell a lady that you are not beautiful, you're killing her. You're killing her. You don't say that to a woman. So what I'm trying to say is that to now go in public where there were about 200 people and somebody will pluck a hair, somebody will pluck a dress, somebody will point a pant, you don't do that. You don't do that to a woman. I don't know how we could change that in the African context. How will we ever be able to, communicate? Women are not meant to be disgraced. That's what I'm trying to say. Even in family meetings, normally when they have family meetings, right? Let's say a man and a woman is having a case. What they normally do in Africa is that they will gather family members together. And you know who they always put the blame on? Everybody kind of see it as their duty to protect the man. And they put all the blame on the woman. No. It's the very opposite of what Jesus did. What did Jesus do? In this case, the woman was to blame. But in Africa these days, even when the man is to blame, not the woman at all, they will blame the woman. But in the case of Jesus, the woman was to blame. She was guilty. But Jesus knew the nature of men, of women, so strong. This Jesus said, when you get to know him, you will fall in love with him. This Jesus, when you get to know him, you will fall in love with him. I don't care if you're a man. I don't care if you're an old man. When you get to know Jesus, his heart. When you get to know Jesus, his softness, his delicacy, his correctness, his behavior, his gentlemanism, his mannerism. When you get to know Jesus, when you get to know Jesus, you will fall in love with him. Jesus is so detailed and he's so fragile, he's so delicate that he knows the intricacies of the inbuilt of the lady. He knows that it is against the nature of a woman to be disgraced and humiliated. So Jesus avoided it. Jesus did everything to avoid her being humiliated. You see, first of all, before Jesus could even tell her, go and sin no more, he first of all gave her protection. Where are your accusers? They are not here. I am not one of your accusers. I am on your side. That is protection for a woman. That means that woman is protected. Despite her sin, despite her imperfection, he knew that before he could tell her, go and sin no more, so that she will not receive that statement, go and sin no more, as a condemnation. Because women have that tendency. Even if you don't wish to condemn her, when she hears any negative on her, or to her side, she begins to fantasize it and, speculate and think, Jesus is talking against, or you are talking against her. Jesus knows that nature as well. So he didn't even give her any room to speculate, so that she will not speculate that maybe he's also condemning me. He will not talk about a sin. He will not even mention to her, go and sin no more, until he has secured her peace first. Until he had secured her self-image. Until he has secured her integrity. Until he had given her protection. So after he had given her protection, where are your accusers? They're nowhere. Forget about them. I'm on your side. Don't mind them. Now, listen. You go, Jerry. Just make sure you don't sin anymore. I set you free. I'm not stoning you. I liberated you. Just don't sin anymore, okay? He's not asking any question. Because by the process, by the time you begin to ask any question, so where did it happen? With who? What led you to it? But why now? You know now. You are bringing her to shame. You are bringing her to disrepute. You are bringing her you are humiliating her. So, but the idea of what I'm trying to say today is basically that why we need to see positives in people. Even in the most horrible situations, even in the most horrible circumstances, when we will say, she deserves it, or he deserves it, even then, you still have to endeavor to see positive in people. So when somebody has 99% negative, but 1% positive, look for that 1% positive and focus on the positive instead of on the negative. Even if there is only 1 out of 99, look for it and focus on it. And if somebody has, don't be like the other guys who's somebody has 99% positive and only 1 negative, and you don't see anything positive, only that 1 negative you see. That is how Satan sees. That's not how love sees, and God is love. So Jesus came to show us how God sees, and how God, how God behaves. So it is in line. Whatever Jesus does is a revelation to us of how God thinks. Let's see another situation. You remember this situation as well? Another lady came, Mary, right, with the alabaster oil. With the alabaster oil, and she had a biography, she had a story. So that Mary Magdalene, or whatever, she was a prostitute in town, and people knew. As soon as she entered, people started murmuring, that's the prostitute there. But look at Jesus. Look at Jesus again. Look at Jesus. Look at my master. I'm telling you, if you get to discover Jesus, the reason why religious people are so wicked is because they don't know Jesus. And if you don't know Jesus, you don't know God. The reason why people are so, are so wicked and are so unpardoning and are so unforgiving is because they don't know the nature of God. Jesus knew the same information these people knew. Because they were saying, if he had been a prophet, if Jesus had been a prophet, he would have known that that lady is a sinner. He is not a prophet. If he had known. But you know what? What they don't know is that Jesus knew. Jesus knew that she was a sinner. Jesus knew that she was a prostitute. Jesus knew. But what they couldn't believe is, they couldn't bring themselves to reconcile that Jesus knew, because in their own mind, there is no way Jesus would know that this lady is a prostitute and still tolerate her. There is no way that could happen. Jesus couldn't have known that this lady is a prostitute and she will still be tolerated. That's why they didn't know Jesus. They didn't know Jesus. Jesus knew that she was a prostitute. Jesus tolerated her and allowed her to come into the gathering, to the meeting. And in those days, women shouldn't come to meetings where men are seated. Even in some African countries today, also, you can only go to the kitchen and be cooking. You cannot go and be sitting down where all the men are sitting down. Who are you? Who be you? Who born you? That means who gave birth to you. You cannot sit down where the men of God are seated down without invitation. Who invited you here? And I saw that when I was in Africa myself. There was a certain Jew that really wanted to see me in Nigeria one time when I was in Nigeria. And I was traveling from one state to the other. So, but they were running out. I mean, he came with like, all the Jews work with, you know, with, what do you call it? Entourage. Yeah. With an entourage of assistants and pastors and bodyguards and protocol and PAs and all kind of people. So he had about 8 or 6 or 8 people, all the kind of jeep and cars. So I was in my hotel. Then I went down to downstairs to meet with them. I saw them, and he said all the drivers and all the assistants, all the security should go down. They should remain downstairs. So he said, but these ones are pastors. So he picked 4 of them also to come up. I said, you come up with me to my room. So he said his assistants also should come up. I said, because he wanted all of them to sit down there. I said, don't let all of them come. Let them come. He said, no. Those ones are just, but let these ones come. These ones are the pastors. And they were not just pastors, they were pastors on branches and all of that. So I said, yeah, let them come up. So I took them to my room because I had a suite. So when they got to my room, he entered to the room, and then all those ones was, so why did you let them come if they were going to stand outside the door of the room in the hotel, in the corridor? And I said, oh, so you want us to discuss something confidential? Eh? You mean they cannot hear what we need to discuss? He said, no, nothing confidential. I said, so why can't they come in? He said, because here in Nigeria, it is not allowed that GO will be sitting down to talk. And even if you are pastors, you cannot also sit down there if you are just junior pastors. Only people of equal ranking, they must sit with themselves. But they are younger ranking, so they don't deserve to be there. I said, but you don't want anything secret? He said, no. He said, maybe I might, because the reason is because maybe you might have something secret. I said, no, you they look for me to discuss now. How can I have something secret? I said, I don't have anything to secret. So he said, yeah, so we can just fellowship here. I said, fellowship. I said, let them, but they came from downstairs to this 8th floor here. And then they are standing in the corridor. Let them enter now. He said, we didn't know, so we didn't just want to offend you because some people might not. I said, let them come, stop talking the grammar. So the people came in. Hey, I thought it was bad already. It was when they came into the room finished that I saw wonder. After they came to the room, we were talking for 10 minutes. I said, okay, he was making his case. Then 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes. And these 4 people were just sitting down. No word, no contribution. I began to be suspecting, or what do you call it? Suspicious. I began to be suspicious, and I said, you mean for 1.5 hours, a whole 4 people, not be 1, 4 cannot have anything to contribute? I said, so what is wrong with you? You people cannot talk. They just smiled. I said, hey, your guys are not talking. So can't they contribute their own too? Are they not pastors? He said, They were looking at him, at the big guy. So I was saying, so what's wrong with them? Can't they talk? Don't they know English? Are they not understand it? He said they understand that they are pastors. I said, so why are they not talking their? He said, no, here in Nigeria, without permission, you cannot talk. If you are assistant like that, you cannot just contribute like that. They say it is protocol. That was the first time I heard the word protocol. Protocol. So you mean these people are sitting down here? They have. I said, if you are sitting down here, we are talking. You have something to contribute, and you are not talking. They said, no, it is. You are going to violate some. I said, if you have human heads like this, my brain, and your brain is working, you want to contribute. Don't you know the topic? We know that. So what's the problem? They say, we have to ask our GO if we can talk. So I say, okay, GO, make them talk, because if they don't talk here, then there's no, because I cannot sit down in a place and I'm talking, other human being like me are sitting down. and they cannot talk, they are not contributing. You know, I cannot feel myself okay. You cannot be quiet. You know, you are making me to feel bad. I cannot sit here and I'm just. I want to hear their opinion. I want to hear what they happen for their head. So their GO said, yeah, go and talk. That is what that was one of the major surprises. So all those people, they are seeing you, even though this is a human being, okay, people, pastors too, but just because you are younger than me, you are already not needed. You cannot contribute already. You are already out. You are already cancelled. So that's what the topic is of. Why we need to see positives in others. We have to be looking for it aggressively, proactively, looking for positive in people. So when that Mary Magdalene came into the room, she was not meant there. It reminds me of Nigeria. But Jesus allowed her to stay in the meeting of the men. Because where the men and women were not allowed those days, they couldn't even vote. But then, Jesus didn't just allow her. That one is bad enough. But now the woman is so bold that she went and be pouring something on the head of Jesus. It's not like Gio is sitting there that somebody bring water and pour on my head. They will beat you to death in that place. If it happens in Africa, you are a dead man. They pour on my head, not be my leg. Oh. You crazy? That will never happen. Nobody will understand. But Jesus tolerated her. And people began to talk. He's not a prophet. How can he be the prophet? A prostitute? No. But you see, Jesus was not seeing prostitution. Jesus was seeing positives that are in her. He said, I came here, you didn't give me water, you didn't give me anything. But as long as this Bible will be read, people will remember her for what she has done. Because she is preparing me for my death. So Jesus is only saying positive. He knew about Graphio, he didn't remember. He didn't mention it. He knew that she was a prostitute. Jesus never mentioned it. If you get to know Jesus, like I said, if you get to know Jesus, you will fall in love with him. If you get to know Jesus, he's such a gentleman to the core. There is no way you will know Jesus without falling in love with him. He covered her. He neglected her past. He didn't even remind her about it. He didn't even mention it. He covered her and pointed to her future. It shall be said of her. It shall be. Forgot the past totally. Broke from the past and said, till the end of the earth, she shall be remembered. Prostitute, no prostitute. Pastor, no pastor. That's how we should be treating people. Only the positives should be our focus. You remember the one that is it Samaritan? Is it Samaritan woman, right? That came to the well to get water. She was so promiscuous. She was changing husband like we are changing dress. Because at that time when she met Jesus, she had changed 6 men. And the one she was living with was it the 5th or the 6th or the 7th? Anyway, at least 5. She has changed at least 5 before she came to meet Jesus. By that time, I think she was living with the 6th or 7th man. So Jesus knew that, and Jesus told her that for her to know that, I know. But even though I know that, I'm still of Jesus himself. Where is the cup here? Anybody can give me a cup. Jesus himself was now the one offering. Jesus was offering her. Jesus was saying, okay, first of all, Jesus said, give me to drink. Jesus was provoking her to a talk. Give me to drink. He said, oh, but you people don't talk to us. Not even that the fact that even without knowing her secret, a normal Jewish person will not even talk to her, even if she was a virgin. She will not talk, they will not talk to her because, she was coming from a lower caste. But now, knowing also our weaknesses and our sins and our trouble, that means double. Nobody should talk to her. But Jesus knew that she was Samaritan, that she was not Jewish. He was ready to talk to her. Then Jesus also knew that she was all messed up. And Jesus thought that it was deserving of her to stand to talk. Some of us will give anything to be with Jesus. Some of us will give our life to meet with Jesus. But here, Jesus counted her as worthy to spend time with. And once Jesus already told her about her life like that, Jesus now said, you know what? If you knew who I am, you'll be asking me. I will give you. Jesus himself was willing. This is a stranger woman, though. He said, I will give you water of life. Jesus, to want to give water to a woman, and not a clean woman, no. But the one that has met, that has changed 6 husbands. And Jesus said, I myself, I will give you water to drink. He will give water to drink. He will give her, the woman, water to drink, the sinner. Jesus thoughtful. Jesus is the real deal. Jesus is the real deal. That's why I say, when you get to meet Jesus, if you know who Jesus is, when you get to meet Jesus, you will fall in love with him. If you get to know Jesus, you will fall in love with him. Hello, guys. You guys want to help me today? Thank you. What do people think of this topic we are discussing today? You are the birthday boy. Let's hear the birthday boy's opinion and his friend. Yes, sir. Why we need to see positives in others? What are you thinking about all this discussion?
Well,
please come close.
This is pretty much a continuation of what we started yesterday. And I mean, you just understanding that in life is full of positive and negative. And it is impossible for you to see a human being who is without negative. And even you yourself, you dare with negative.
You have your own negatives.
You have your negatives. But it takes a person who has an understanding of the value that even with the negatives with people, there is still positive. And that is the story of the woman. I mean, all of the stories you've shared about Jesus. That even though the woman was caught in adultery, which is obviously negative, she has positives. And so, all you guys did was, you just magnified her negatives.
Instead of her positive.
Instead of her positives. And so, by magnifying the negatives, you just concluded that what we need to do is to judge her. Because as long as we magnify negatives in the lives of people, we'll always find reasons to want to judge, condemn, reject them. But the moment we shift our lenses and we shift our magnifying glasses from the negatives in others, and we begin to magnify the positives in them, what happens is that there is strength that we give to those people. We give them strength to begin to use their positivity to actually transform those negatives in their lives to become positives. And that's the power that Jesus used. When he met these people that had negatives, what he did was he magnified the positive that he saw in them. And by magnifying those positives, he gave them strength to overcome their negatives. And that's what he did with the woman by the well. Yes, she fornicated. Yes, she had many people that she was with who were not her husband. But by showing her that, hey, I see that you have positivity and I'm going to magnify it. What happened? Someone that she couldn't come to well. If you know that story, you would realize that she actually thought about the time that she was going to go to the well where people were not around. Because she targeted that time. That because of the shame, because of
stigma,
the stigma, the disposition of people to her negatives, she was so careful not to go out at a time where people would see her and judge her. So what did she do? She went out at a time where there was nobody around. And that was the reason why she was alone at the well.
And even Jesus was supposed to have gone to eat.
To eat!
But because of her, he missed his lunch.
He missed his lunch. And what did he do? It was with her, making her realize how important she is.
It was almost like taking her on a date.
Exactly.
Just her and Jesus, audience, one-on-one.
One audience. And the powerful thing about magnifying and seeing positives in people is that by seeing positives in people, even without effort, you empower them to become the best version of themselves. Because there is good in everyone, no matter how evil they appear now.
Why are we focusing on the evil?
It is because most times we see people from our own lens. Most times we look at people and we treat them the way we treat ourselves. So most people, they see themselves as evil, and
but who wants to admit to himself that he is evil?
But they're not going to do that. So what they do, just like the story of the woman that was caught in adultery. You see those guys that they brought the woman. Those guys had issues though. And they definitely saw themselves, they had issues, but they didn't immediately see the issues in themselves. But what happened was, what Jesus did was that he now made them turn. You know how you can point one finger to somebody and the remaining fingers are pointing at you. So what Jesus did, and he said, hey, you're pointing fingers to this lady, saying that she's evil, she's negative, but you, okay, and I said, okay, no problem. All right, so no problem. But let anyone who does not have a negative, that's what he said, by saying, who is without sin. So he said, okay, since you guys are saying this woman has negatives, all right, so let the person who brought her, who doesn't have a negative in his life, be the first to cast this stone. So now they were not able to look at themselves and then operate in the first level of truth, which is speaking the truth about yourself to yourself. So he made them say, hey, see, it's easy for you to pick out on the negatives of people, but have you said the truth to yourself? And what happened? These people that...
So as long as we will be telling the truth to ourselves. So if I observe the first level of truth, which is telling the truth
about myself
to myself, as long as I do that, if I really do that, I will never point out anything.
I tell you. Yeah.
We are not talking about doctrines and practices.
No.
We are talking about people's lives.
Just personal lives.
Yeah. So because if I will say the truth to myself about myself, I will always know that even me, I'm not perfect.
I'm telling you.
So as long as I will even that, and that's just the number one level of truth.
That's the first level.
So as even with the number one level, we are not talking about the rest.
That level.
So anyone that lives in even number one level of truth will never condemn others.
We won't condemn others.
You will just be like Jesus.
You will see positive in other people.
That's great.
That's the truth. That is
positive.
You will see positive in other people.
You not even talk of less.
Yeah, because that's the foundation for you to know that, hey, before I even say I want to talk to any other person, I have my own issues. I'm dealing with things myself. So why should me that I know it's just insincerity for you to be looking to see. Because it's just like you're struggling with smoking, and because yours is obvious. And then I know I'm struggling with anger. And then I'll come and I'll tell you that who are you? You that you smoke, you're a sinner. I should condemn you. Oh, you have anger issues. Have you spoken to yourself and told yourself that, see, I have anger issues?
May God help me first.
God should help me first too. before I start looking at the negatives in you. So we really need to see positive in people, because when we see positive in people, one thing that is very important also is that when we begin to see positive in people, we are able to share our own positivity with them, and we are ready to also receive their own positivity. Why? Because you cannot give what you don't recognize, and you cannot also receive what you don't recognize. That is just the truth. If you don't recognize good, you can't give good, and if you don't recognize good, you can't receive good. So the reason why we have a lot of friction with people is because we can't recognize their positives, and what we're just saying is just negatives. So you are giving a negative vibe to them, and you are receiving a negative vibe also. So, but if we want to have a good cohesion with people, we must start looking at what is good about this person, and let me magnify it.
But what about if the thing that is not good there is 99%?
Is 99%, is majority. The thing, that becomes very, very dicey, because when somebody has 99% negative things, it is sincerely very difficult for you to find that one.
So you have to have a lot of patience.
Exactly. That's when other
long suffering
values like patience, long suffering, perseverance. But you cannot have all of these things without the idea and without the understanding of love. Because love does all of these things. And that's what 1 Corinthians 4 says. Love endures all things.
And it's long suffering.
Love is long suffering. Love does all of these things. But it is the understanding of the concept of love that will make you still stick with someone. Now, this is sincerely not easy, because ordinarily people gravitate towards wanting to look for the negatives of people. But when we, like you said, when we know Jesus, when we know him and we meet him
and we
learn from him, we would understand what he understands. Amazing. We will understand what he understands. Because by understanding what he understands, we can function like him. Because God doesn't just function anyhow. There's an understanding that is initiating and that informs his decision. So that is the reason why while he was in the Zacchaeus' house, and people would have been saying, what is Jesus doing in a thief's house? Because Zacchaeus was first, so he was a tax collector, and in that time, tax collectors, they were tagged thieves.
Yeah, like corruption.
Because of corruption. So now Jesus was going to the house of a corrupt tax collector that people refer to as thief. It would have been very easy for him to just say it. Yeah.
Politician.
It's like, this guy, you're a corrupt politician. There's nothing that I have to do with you. But he understands something. And his understanding was that, in as much as this guy is corrupt, this guy has a heart. He knows the truth. He knows the truth. And that was the reason why when he showed up in Zacchaeus' house, he didn't tell Zacchaeus to pay back. Zacchaeus knew the truth and he paid back the exact amount, 4 times of what he had stolen.
Just for his love for truth.
Just for his love for truth. That Jesus recognized, that Jesus understood that beyond his theft, beyond his corruption as a tax leader.
But the ones who they go to church and we are pastoring and they don't return anything.
At all.
No love for truth.
At all. At all.
What will you say about that? Why we need to see positives in others?
For me, I would come from the angle of investment.
Okay.
That it takes you to have a positive forecast in any business, in any enterprise, in any person to ever invest in them. And I think this is what God did when the whole world was sinning, but yet he chose to invest his only begotten son. So he didn't see...
But how comes positive?
Yeah, because it was not what they were doing. It was who they really are and could become by the virtue of an intervention. And the same thing happens not just in the lives of people, but also in societies.
Okay.
So for instance, let us look at your project for Nigeria. Why?
They are human beings.
But what do they have to offer you now? Their mentality now, are they getting what you are saying?
No, they are
But what are you picturing? What is the picture in your mind for you to say, no, I'm going back there to intervene? There's a picture you must have seen in mind that looks different from what
The reality
is now. And if that picture was not positive, then there's nothing you are doing that will be worth it. Even the try will not be worth it. So, but your ability to look beyond what is now and see a picture in mind, that is how people inspire others to be better. That's how people invest in other people. That's how you can see a child on the street who seems to have no future, and you intervene in his life, pay for his tuition, he gets into school, and he also learns that and is able to pay it forward. And you find out a whole chain of intervention goes out like that, just because you're able to find a positive in just one person.
But what about Nigerian Christians that go to church in their cars, pass by beggars, lames, Fulanis?
I tell you, the only reason why they are still doing that,
even pastors,
yes.
They build wall,
Yeah, fences.
fences.
it is,
Even from members.
even not just even the ones they see on the street, but even when you listen to their reaction to national tragedies and you hear what they say,
Go and kill them.
go and, if you see any Fulani, kill him, cut his head off, stuff like that. It is simply because of the inability to see positives. Because of the inability to see positives.
They say we should speak louder.
In fact, to even talk about government, every government understands the positives in recession. What we call recession, that everybody is shouting. When in Senate clients, when they have that, they are, what you've just given them is the ability to breed new billionaires, new millionaires that are different from what was happening before. That's what people are seeing when they see recession, because they know they are going to bounce back with new enterprises. That's what they see. So they see positives, and so they bounce back. But we don't see positives.
No, because I'm seeing picture of all churches in Nigeria in every street.
We don't see positives. So we never
Because
invest.
if we see positives in people, we have churches in every street.
In every corner.
We don't even have beggar in every street. So even churches alone can do and remove everybody who is poor, who is a beggar, who is. We don't have beggar in every street.
No, but we have churches, at least 4.
In every street.
in fact,
so we even have more churches than beggars.
Yes.
So even if one church, every church will take care of one. We will clean up our country.
We would have sorted out, even if not everything, but most of the issues.
You know, talking about this,
Because you are talking about not just recognizing positives in them, but going to the extent, because you might just recognize positive and say, okay, it's an image and likeness of God.
Yes.
Okay, I will not despise him. And some people will tell you that today in Nigerian churches that, okay, I don't despise him. Only, I don't have to do anything. But you are even saying that don't just respect them. But if you really see positives, you will go to the extent of investing. Tell your story about what you are doing with the kids.
Yeah, okay. So
that you yourself, you are still a student today.
Yeah. So, and I always say it, I would have done it, but that would have been maybe when I'm settled. But when I read your book, worked on your book, Who Will Attend My Funeral, and I saw that I could actually die today, what would it be about me? Have I been closing my eyes to opportunities? And I looked at my own life too, and I saw that, in fact, I would never...
Opportunities not to gain.
But to give. To be a blessing to people. And I looked at my own life too. Would I have graduated if 1, 2, 3, 4 people had not stood up to say, let's invest in me? What if they too said, when we are comfortable? So, looking at all of those, then I decided no. Even if it is one child that I'm able to bring out of the street, bring out of the house, and put back in school. If I don't even need to give him food though, I just need to get him to school. Because I understand what it means. I can hear their cry. And those cries are often mute. They are crying, but you will not hear.
No, but how can you see positive in people you don't even see? But you there for here, they there for Nigeria. You are not in Nigeria. You don't even pass them by on Sunday.
Well, sometimes true, but it doesn't have to be through my own way. Sometimes because of the things you've been through, and you've come out, and you are able to come out of, you are able to resonate, to relate. But sometimes you don't even have to be like that. You just need to pay more attention to people and see that even you, because the idea side is that no matter who the billionaire is today, there was a time he was a millionaire and was hoping to become a billionaire. Before he was a millionaire, there was a time he was in thousands and was hoping to get to millions. So it means everyone gradually increases, and it means even you, there was a time you were not you. And if someone had looked at you within the ramifications of what you were as of that time, not thinking of what you could have been now, then someone would never have seen positive in you.
No, but
so the same thing with those children on the street.
Okay.
The only difference is that they are at a lower strata than where you are or where you used to be. So if you can move from where you are to where you used to be, then with some investment, they too can.
No, but you don't have much now. You are just a student.
But I can see the need. Yeah. And sometimes to see the need, sir, is not even that you, because most of the things we've done now are not even privately, all of them are not from my money. It's from the fact that I've been able to see a need and act towards it, so that some children
champion it.
And some people are coming to say we want. I've not even announced it publicly because we are working on the structure and the foundation. So I don't want to collect public money without without the structure. So, but some people are still saying privately, arrangement privately, we want to join, and they're helping. So, but all
it needs is for the heart,
to be there. And so, because the heart is there,
and to start,
people will join. Yeah. People will join. You will inspire people to join. As long as it is genuine and there's accountability on your part, it will always grow. You can feed a.
Okay, but some people want to say, okay, but do I need to, if I see positive, I need to act there?
You need to work on it.
So
it's not enough
faith without
work is dead. I mean,
because some people might say, I will see for positive, I don't have anything against anybody.
No. What will now then be the difference between you and the one that does not see it? How will we know that you saw it? The evidence of you seeing it is that you acted on it.
Especially if the needs are there.
The needs are always there. That's why Jesus was saying the poor you will always have around you. Because the need will always be there. So he's not saying that you neglect the need. He's saying that you recognize the need and act on it. So we must see the positive in other people because God saw the positive in us and invested in us. And today now, some of us are here and is expecting us to pay it back. And if you will ever be like
but what is surprising people who are watching right now is but you are not a millionaire yet.
No, me are 1,005. I don't have 100.
What must happen to a man like that? The heart?
Yeah, that's it.
The first thing you have to give is yourself.
Okay.
If you give yourself to that vision,
it doesn't matter if you have anything in pocket or not.
Everything you have will flow towards what you've given yourself to. It's just natural. That's why the first thing every man needs for anything to be built are men who are committed to a picture. It doesn't need their money first. Because once people are committed to that picture, to that vision, their resources will flow. So have you found the need? Have you found the positive in that person? And you give yourself to it. So I've given myself now that in my own generation, in fact, the narrative of illiterates in Nigeria is going to be reduced. And we are still, on this one, we are still on the first stage. Because the second stage is that we are now going to give them homeschooling. I mean, self-education. We are going to introduce it to them in a way they've never seen it before. But still on the first one of putting them in a formal school, we've done that. But all of these plans are coming. I'm not just putting them in school.
So you are not waiting for the government to eradicate illiteracy.
There is no government in the world.
So you want to take the challenge on yourself,
yes,
to eradicate illiteracy,
yes,
from Nigeria as a whole.
As long as it depends on me, that narrative is going to change. Because we'll start from putting them.
Because you see the need.
Yes.
But they are not your relatives, because the way people only help people who are their relatives.
Truth be told,
even church members, they don't help.
Truth be told, sir, those parents, when they want to call and say, I want to talk to me, I say, no, just talk to the person who because you know we always have a middleman who get them. I don't even want to hear the thank you.
Your staff.
I don't even want to hear the thank you, because at the end of the day, this is all I see. This is enough thank you for me. I want this to come out. So it's
The potential in them.
The potential in them.
The positives.
The positives.
In those people that you don't know.
So I'll tell you a story today. There was a lady who just won. She won cowbell mathematics. She's been transferred to a new school now. She was just breaking all those academic records in Nigeria. She came from all those public schools. Those Ansarudin, AUL, what they call it. That's where she came from, in Osun State. Today now she's breaking records in mathematics in Nigeria. That kid that is hawking on the street could just have been her. And all she needs is just, sometimes all we need is just number one, just one little push. And if someone gives you that little push, sometimes that's all you need for life. Can you be the one who sees positive in somebody else and is giving him that push?
No, but I have an issue. I'm feeling what people are experiencing. What is your own game? Because what people have been taught is that give and it shall be given to you. Press down.
Shaking together.
So why should you, okay, if you are not going to your village to do it, you are doing it across Nigeria. Because that's what is bothering people right now.
What is your own game?
Because everyone sees it. Are you more interested in God? So what is motivating you?
Truth be told, when I see those people, I see myself. And that is my game. That this was me. This is me. So if this guy is in school, I am also in school. And that's my game. So that I can see the positive in them, just as there's a positive in me. And I always need investment. And there's none of you who can tell me you were never invested in. Because sometimes, the reason why you feel like that is because someone from outside is not coming to do that. Your parents are doing it. Your parents are doing it. Your uncle did it. Your aunt did it. That's why you are where you are. Somebody invested in you. So the only difference is that these people don't have such people who are close to them to do it. But that person to invest in them could be you.
Me or you.
And I tell parents, and parents who are watching this, please listen to this. Please. The only reason why you are investing in your children is because you want to live a better world. But oftentimes you forget that these people that are outside, that are not going to school, are not getting education,
the area boys,
those guys who are becoming area boys eventually, they are going to be a part of the generation your own children will live in. And if you do not invest in them today, they will become these people who will be creating social vices then. So if you choose not to see the positive in them today, the negative in them that you are seeing and you are choosing not to invest in them will now manifest. They will now be the ones to begin to steal what your children are building. Kidnap. They will be the ones to kidnap your children. They will be the ones to terrorize your children. So if you want to avoid that, as much as you invest in your children, look for just one. Two.
No,
three.
but you made a statement when I did the Kingdom Fruit with you, yes, that as little as $30 is enough to take a child back to school.
Yes.
Not just for 1 month. Because after we finish the program, people are getting in touch with me and say, so $30 a month, eh? But you said it's not $30 a month, though.
Sometimes even lesser.
Is it $30? A year, you can even do it.
A year.
That $30 could be enough for a whole year.
A whole year.
To keep a child out of school.
I'll bring him out of the house and put him in school.
Out of the street. Out of Hawking and put him in school.
There is
$30 a year.
There was someone,
a year.
A year, sir.
A year.
There was someone who reached out to me after that, sir, and gave $100.
$3 in a month. He gave $100.
$100. In the 1 week after that, 4 kids were in school.
With $100? No, it's not possible.
We have the statistics. We have the data. It's something I can prove.
No, what about the photo?
I have the photo. I have the name. I have everything. Even on my phone, I can show it. That's again with $100. The next week, 4 kids were in school. 4.
No, it's not possible. 4 kids.
4 kids were in school
for $100. No, it's not possible.
4 kids were
for the whole year.
For the whole year.
No, it's not possible.
For the whole year.
No, it cannot be.
It is. Just $100.
No, people just don't. I don't.
I have the data.
What's the name of your organization? How can they find you? How can they get you?
So you can either write me on Facebook directly or just go to bamishaivictor.com and you will see our page here, 30 before 30. So you can write us from
See positive in people.
in people.
Yeah.
And I don't know their
But
parents.
how can you see positive in those children? They are too small now.
Because God has put positivity in every man.
Even those children.
What has only corrupted it is environment,
Yeah. Circumstance.
circumstances.
Okay, what about the ones who are crawling on the ground? Do they have positivity?
God created every man for a purpose, and that purpose is positive enough. Every man.
No, what about the Hausa beggars, the Fulani?
All of them have positivity in them. The only thing is that you
No,
and
okay.
I are allowing circumstance to redesign what God created them for. So if we will stand up and fight for God's investment in them, that is the positivity we need to see.
No, if $100 is enough to take 4 children back to school, what about all the offerings and tithe that is going to churches every Sunday?
I don't know what they are doing with it. Because even this one that I'm talking about, most of it are in the western states and Abuja. So it means that because
Outside it will be cheaper.
it will be cheaper. Because the first intervention we tried to do in Jos, it was about what am I saying? It was about $10-15
For a
for
year.
a year for one child.
To keep one child in a year. A year is good.
That was in Plateau.
You dey kill me, oh!
Plateau State.
You dey kill me, oh!
Plateau State.
You dey kill me, oh!
In Plateau State, we've not even gone to Bono. Because the point is that governments have subsidized education for some of these people. So it's just the extra push that they need. But we don't even see it.
So the problem with Nigeria is probably not money, understanding.
Understanding and ability to see positive in other people. So we prefer to buy oranges from them. Or take them as house help and house maids. And you see those ones they now take as housemaid. The negativity they see in them is the only child we see as a witch is not the child of someone. No. Is the one that they've taken as a maid or that the cousin has put to stay with them. Their own children is never a witch or a wizard. It is those children that they've brought to stay with them that are always witches and wizards. They're always the one confessing. It's always housemates. We prefer to do that than to see positivity in them and invest in them. But we must change it.
No, but what is oh sorry, what's wrong with me, sir? Will it come on? See. Is this rock?
It's not rocket science.
This is not a big revelation now. Just see positive for human being, for person. See positive in people. See the image and likeness of God in people. What's difficult in that one? Why should you now say, and I agree with you when you say that, and our problem is not just the money, but thinking pattern or what?
Yeah.
We cannot even think that, to think like this is the problem. Why can't GOs be teaching this one? If every church in Nigeria, all the GOs teach this one for one Sunday, and send all their church members that don't give titles, go and look for people and begin to see positive in the witches, in the wizards, in the children, in the orphans, in the widows, in the beggars, in the Fulanis.
In one month, we have transformed our society. Because the only reason why even most of these public schools are in decadence.
Why is this a revelation?
No, this is just basic humanity.
Elementary.
But the absence of this confirms to us that a lot of people have lost their humanity, even though they are mounting pulpit. So
what are they doing on pulpit?
Well, it's become some sort of decoration. Stand
No, but they are talking some things there every Sunday. Some not only Sunday.
You know, there's something in psychiatry that is called neologism or paralogia. So there's
Louder, they said louder.
there's paralogia, and there's neologism. So paralogia is someone just talking, you can't even connect what he's saying.
Makes sense.
Neologism is this person is just saying new things. I mean, he's forming his own vocabulary, his own
Hebrew
language. So the idea is that the content of the speech is not understandable. It doesn't pass any sense. So a lot of pastors are doing that. No sense is being passed. The people come into the church.
You remember there was a video like that. One guy was praying. He was saying, today, your destiny shall never, when I was talking about syncretism, there was a man praying like that, praying in English. He was wearing coats, winter coat or something like that. So no, just sitting down like that. He was talking like that, very sharp. He was very intense in his talk. Today, your prayer, your destiny, I prophesy to you today. I speak something to you, sitting down, or just himself alone, not in the church. Go find me that video. Because that might be the illustration of the gibberish we are talking about.
So anyone can just climb up any day and just hold microphone and say any nonsense. But where we will see the result is in what the people produce, the people listening to it produce.
So principles is what they don't teach, or what?
They have abandoned it themselves. Let me not say they don't know it. So why would they teach it?
Because it's truth. Yeah. Is it not the image of God? Those people, don't they have image of God? The people in the village and in the streets?
No, how can they have image of God? The only one with the image of God is the pastor, the set man. It's only the set man.
No, Victor, you are not taking to another level.
No, it's only the set man. Okay, why is it that those guys could not sit down with you?
Which guys?
The
ones okay. The assistants of the GO.
Because even the assistants has no positive. What does he have to contribute?
They're not members though. Those are not,
so if they can do that to pastors, what would they do to members?
Well, the one that said she's a witch for Jesus.
That's why that one received slap.
Yeah, because there's not positive.
Because if he had seen positive in her, even if she were a witch, what would have happened that day was she would have been called for some special counseling.
Okay.
Not to slap her there, but she was slapped there because she was seen as someone.
So they are not seeing the image of God in that lady at all, or likeness.
No, you can't see image of God and slap God now.
Yeah, that's true.
And you even think they used to say their altar is the holiest place. Altar.
Yes, that's
where. And that was the place that they should even be seeing God more.
That's the place you shouldn't be slapping anybody.
So it will only tell me one thing: either God is not in that place,
or you don't even see God.
Or they just cannot see God. That's the only two explanations.
You also want to feed. Tell your program to people.
Yeah, we also work on feeding people.
Tell from yourself now.
Right, from me, I was raised and I grew up understanding what it means to actually be in lack of food. Why?
You know what it means?
Yes, because I didn't live amongst the rich people. I mean, my parents they had just enough to feed us. But we had people that, like I said in my show today, we had people that were always coming to our house to eat food. And I always used to go with my mommy to go to the streets to feed people that were hungry.
And even though you people were still lacking.
We're still, I mean, we did have, sometimes we're like, mommy, we've not eaten enough at home. I mean, we're still trying to enjoy ourselves at home, but yet you still carry out of what we have and still go and give to people that are on the streets, people that are lacking food and hunger.
Maybe that's what, that kind of kindness of your parents is what now makes you God is rewarding by making you to even meet me.
Yes, exactly.
To be able to receive this message of the kingdom.
That's so true.
Jesus said it cannot be given to any man unless it's given from above.
Yes.
Get ready.
Yes, so, right. I mean, I know what it means. I've seen people that are hungry who are in need of food, to the state that they look emancipated actually, because they can't eat. And then God just placed that burden in my heart after I watched the video, looking at people hungry and almost about to die of hunger. And I was like, no, I can't just bypass it. I can't just.
No, but you are not working.
No, I mean,
and you are not a millionaire.
No,
but you are here in Ukraine.
In Ukraine.
So what did you decide to do?
So I decided to, an intervention in Nigeria to feed people on the streets. And so we always.
Why you are here in Ukraine?
When I'm here in Ukraine.
And you are just a student.
Just a student. And it was to
so that nobody will go to bed hungry.
Nobody will go to bed hungry.
But you know they receive that and offering now.
At all. And what will baffle you is that, I mean, I did the calculation also with my team, and it just takes $1 to get a meal.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria. Just $1. You can
to feed somebody.
To feed one person. And just to feed a soul, you need just $1. Just to feed a soul, you need just $1. I mean, you don't need so much money. That means to give.
So if I give you $100, you can feed
100 people
in Nigeria.
We'll give them one meal, as in a meal, packaged meal.
And you have started.
We've started.
While you are a student.
Yes.
Here in Ukraine.
Yes.
And you still have to pay your own school fees and everything.
Sponsoring ourselves through. I mean, just to. Can
people partner with you?
Yes. They can contact me personally and know Joe on Facebook, and also we have a Facebook page that we're working on. We've uploaded some of our reach out.
So what's your dream concerning? You want to do it all over?
As in, my dream is to have a resource center in every local government in Nigeria, such a way that there will be no local government that is without a resource center that is to cater for the people who are on the streets who have no food to eat. And so this resource center is to function in such a way that we would have a food bank and a kitchen that will be able to give out raw materials, raw foodstuffs, and also have a kitchen that is operating 24/7. That people that are on the street can come in to eat. And they can be guaranteed that they are not going to die of hunger. And also, not just giving them food to eat, but also to train them on how they can begin to even get themselves together, get their feet on the ground. And this thing, feeding, our first reach out, we fed close to 50 people thereabout, and we didn't spend up to $30 because it was our first reach out.
And people were, and it was okay, $30 was okay to feed people.
I have a representative that is in Nigeria. I believe she's watching, so she can testify. It doesn't take much to feed people, and there are people starving. As a matter of fact, I spoke with someone who is of great value to me, and I told the person that, hey, this is what I'm doing, and I sent the picture to the person saying, look at the picture of our reach out. We reach out to these people in Festac, and this was what happened. And the person asked me that, hey, this one that you are working now, are you sure that these people that are working with you in Nigeria, they won't take the food from you? I'm like, what do you mean by they will take the food from you? He said that there are many people that are hungry in Nigeria. People are hungry. People are looking for
then
food.
Then they are the ones now. Let them eat now. If they are taking the food, it means they are hungry.
It means they are hungry.
Is it for them? Not for them?
Yes. So people are hungry, and I mean, just $1 can feed a soul in a day, and that's why we call the organization Feed a Soul Nigeria. That you just need $1 to feed one person. That means in a family you can feed somebody for one day 3 square meal. $3 will feed them.
Are you serious?
And that's our dream. Our dream is to have a kitchen that will be cooking this food. So we're just supplying them with just materials. Just cook this food, let's package it, and let's go to the streets and give people food to eat. Children.
Amazing. And you people are just students yourself who are struggling here in a foreign land. Okay, what must somebody know that will make him to understand the need to respond to the hungry? That will make you to recognize the need to respond to children who are in the street with nothing of your own, but at the same time Old churches and pastors and GOs, millionaires, billionaires, anything you want, trillionaires, don't even think about it.
I think the first thing to realize is that there is no ownership. There is no ownership. No one has ownership of anything on earth. Even though you work hard, you don't. Life is given. Life is a gift, and everyone and everything.
So anything we have
was given to be a gift. So what I have is a gift for another person. Who I am must be a gift to another person. I think with that perspective, you can realize that if what you had been given, if you were not given, you could also have been in that situation. And so that's why you must work with the perspective of, I am a gift.
And I'm here.
And I'm here. So
I'm here for that purpose of being a gift.
Yes, and I must look for the person to whom that I was given as a gift to. So with that perspective, I believe that you will begin to look for people, and you will see that if there was no need, then you will never have been an answer. So why are we looking for people who are answers? Answers don't answer answers. Answers questions. And questions many times are in the form of the negative. They are in the form of a deficiency. They are in the form of lack. They are in some of problems. This is not here. Problems. Challenges. They are in the form of challenges. So if I can begin to look for this, then I can see that that child actually has a lack. That child has a need. That child has a deficiency. But I am his gift.
True. And as a gift, you begin to see yourself as a channel. Because many times, many times the reason why we can't see positive in others is because we see our lives and our families as the end.
Yes, as the end. That's the thing in Nigeria.
So because we see ourselves as the end, and we see
our family, relatives.
and our family and our relatives as the end, we are oblivious to every other thing outside. As a matter of fact, as we're talking, I was like, so we're going a step further. I think we have to come back to saying you have to see, because many people are not even seeing. You know, seeing positive is one thing entirely, but the ability to even see and notice is another thing entirely.
The need.
Yeah, I mean,
just pay attention.
to just pay attention that, hey, I just bypass someone that is hungry. Do you know? I mean, people will bypass the hungry and they will not even recognize that somebody was there.
That's the book. What's the name of that book? Let the Heroes Arise.
Yes.
Let the heroes arise.
Personalities.
And I think this is one reason, sir, why we waste things, ranging from food to money to any other resource, even to time, because we never see need. Because, for example, in this world now, half of the food that are produced in this world go to waste.
Yes.
And you contribute to that.
Let me say that. Let me add to that.
Until I started buying food, what I needed for a particular time. And so there was a time I lost money that was meant for this, budgeted for 30. And the next thing that was left was money for food. I still had to pay my obligation because I know that food is not enough, it's okay. But that I waste food and buy surplus is disastrous. But that's what a lot of us do. We waste food, we waste time, we waste money, we waste resource. Because we are not thinking that what we are wasting is what somebody else needs, is looking for.
I mean, talking about wastage, that's one of the strategies that we also are trying to work on. Because, I mean, the amount of food that is wasted can feed the hungry. It will make them full and satisfied. Why am I saying that? Because I'm talking about the amount of food that is wasted individually, in families, in restaurants, in hotels. And that's why one of the strategies that we want to use is that we want to work hand in hand with hotels, with restaurants. That, because there are some restaurants that they can't take a food over the night. And so
all of them.
Yeah, most of them. So what they do is that they get the food and just throw it away. But there are people that, I mean, for every night that there is a food that is about to waste, there are people that are ready to eat who don't have food to eat. But because we don't see ourselves as channels to meet the need, I mean, of what use is our existence if there is no need we're meeting? We should be dead. I mean, what is the use if I'm not meeting a need? If there's if there is not a person that is saying, thank God that you are alive. Thank God that you are alive, because if not because you are alive, I would have been lacking this and this. But that is the idea of what God wants us to live like, as a channel. As a channel, to be a channel that God can send His love to people who are on the streets, who need food to eat, and they want to know, what if they are saying, God, do you love me? God, do you love me? God, show me that you love me. And what they are saying is that, God, I need food. I need you to show me that you love me by getting food and me not to die. And God is saying, I want you to be a channel that I can extend my love to that guy on the street. That guy does not need preaching. That guy does not need bills. He does not need to even hear that I'm the Lord and Savior of his life. What that guy needs is give him food. And when you give him food, that food is his answer to the request he has given to God. That God, I need you to show me that you love me.
That food will preach more message.
That food will preach more message than your Jesus you are choking inside his throat. Or that guy that is on the, or that child that is on the streets that is crying. That I can see my friend going to school and I cannot go to school. God, do you love me? Do you love me? And God uses someone and says, you go and take that guy from the streets and take him to the school. And what that guy is seeing is not just seeing education. What that guy is seeing, that God loves me. And God has answered my prayer. And he has sent someone that will take me from the streets and put me back to school.
How can this book help people get that message? Because some pastors might need to preach this. Because I'm saying, why are they not preaching these things in Nigeria? Can these books help get these pastors? They say, how can we preach? What can we preach to make our people become like this?
Let me start with this book. One thing that you said to start with this book, or I've read the book, is this. The law of difference. The law of difference. And
it's one of the most powerful books I've ever written.
Man, this book is so powerful because what it will do in you is that it will make you really wise. And because here you said that true wisdom,
ability to see,
is the ability to see. You can't tell me that you are wise if you can't see. Oh, of what use is your wisdom if you can't see? If you can't see, you are blind. So we just have people who can't see, people who can't. I mean, that's why I say that when we're talking about seeing positives, some people can't even see. They can't even see to even pay attention that, hey, there are people who are in need. I'm saying, Pastor, let's even leave streets, even in church. People that are in their services who are in need, who are broke, who need food, they can't even see. So in this book, you would realize that what wisdom is that you have the ability to see and to notice the difference. I noticed that today you're not smiling. What's happening? You smile every time, but you're not smiling. What's happening today?
So we must teach every Christian
how to.
So this book, will you say every pastor or every Christian is?
At first, this book has to be a manual. I mean, I had to
a manual. Where? For school?
For schools, for churches, and even as an individual, leadership training. Because this is what I mean. What will lead to innovation? It is because you are able to see. I see that people are in need of a device to speak to their family members that are far. That's a need. So I'm like, okay, how can I bring
the
about
law
this?
of difference?
But the law to see, to recognize difference.
How will you read these books? Not even among my books now. About concerning other books you have read. How will you read it?
No, something about your books, and not just this book, because I mean all of your books. What they do is that it's your books reveal and expose what life really is and what makes life and how to really maximize life. That's what your books are. For example, the law of difference. I could imagine living my life not understanding the law of difference. I'll just bypass life and then I just die and there's nothing. Why? Because it is my ability to see the difference between me, that I can get food to eat and they can't eat. I mean, where we feed these people in Festac, it is close to a church. And these children, they gather around this church on Sundays hoping for help, hoping to people that they can beg from. So that's the reason why we even chose to reach out to them on Sunday morning, because that's when these people will come from wherever they are and come to church to expect maybe from church folks they will get money. But there are church people that will pass those children and not see anything there.
So you want to recommend it?
So this book is a must read for everyone. For you to be able to recognize and honor people. You see, you can't read this book and not honor people. You can't. You can't read this book and not have the value of honor. Because even the people that are the seemingly disadvantaged in life,
downtrodden,
down and out, nothing good that you can even associate with them, you would realize that in as much as they look like there is nothing good in them, understanding the law of difference would make you look beyond all of their present situation and circumstance and discover the benefit and the good in those people. And it will make you not just see it, but it will make you make a move. And that's the difference. Making a move. Because many people see and they're like, I don't have what it takes. I don't think I can do it. But no. When you're wise and you see the difference, if you see it and you don't take a move, you've not seen well.
Which one is this one?
This is Let Heroes Arise.
Okay.
So with Let Heroes Arise, you would be able to understand who is an hero, who is a hero. Because many times when they talk about heroes, you are thinking of one person who is a national figure.
But all of us, God wants all of us to become.
Well, you don't even have to be known to be a hero. You don't even have to be
But
celebrated.
now you are a hero to those children. Everybody can become a hero.
All it takes to be a hero is to solve a problem.
Yeah.
To solve a problem. To live for a higher purpose. To discover why is it
so
that
this book will make everybody that's watching here to become a hero. Through this book, you will live a life of legacy. This is how to live a legacy for life and eternity. It's called Let Heroes Arise. What about this one?
So let me even take some time just to allow people to see it. I am a person. Am I a personality? I mean, this book would make you understand the fact that you're a human being does not mean that you're a personality. That you being human doesn't equate you being a personality. And as a matter of fact, it is easy for you to just live as a biomass. Because that can easily be your default system.
So what you people are doing right now is delivering people from being biomass.
Yes.
Yeah, you could just exist. You could
just exist. It's easy.
That one is just breathe in and breathe out. Even plants do it.
Animals,
goats do it. Dogs do it. Lions do it.
So this one will teach us how to
transform ourselves from being a biomass or just an existing person
yes,
to becoming a personality.
Because a lot of time we just live as the pet of life. So we are pets. The way human beings have animals and they pet it, and they really do not live anything rather than make people happy, make people smile. And so we
that's how people are giving back to children.
A pet, yeah, for life.
Like their own pet.
Yes. So we become a pet for the universe. Oh, as long as you can go and play football, come back, you
smile,
make your friends shout, and they are doing this program, you are able to watch it, and that's just all. You have become a pet to life. So this book delivers you from that. It brings you out of that mentality that you now begin to
contributing.
See, yeah, that what can I do to make my stand, to make people know that I was here. I actually was here. I was a human. I lived. I wasn't just existing. I lived. And everything just is.
So I was asking you, what are pastors doing in church? You said you are doing what? Some two grammatical words that are too big for my grammar.
Neologism.
Yes.
Paralogia.
You said that is what they are doing.
They are inventing things you will never find in the Bible.
So I said, these are the things that pastors are these are the things that pastors are supposed to be teaching.
Yeah.
If these principles that are in this book have been taught to even 10% of Nigerian churches, we'll be talking about another thing now. So when you are saying that, what do you call those two words?
Paralogia and neologism.
So I remember one guy that it might be a perfect description of what we are saying. So is that what they are doing in Nigerian churches? Let's hear it.
You are rising from that pit of darkness now. Your stolen glory is restored back to you today.
Just talking.
Every door locked against you begin to open. The Lord God sent fire and thunder to every region of darkness where they are fighting against your destiny. I pull down the strongholds of hell that rise against you. I pull down the strongholds of darkness that rise against you. I pull down the strongholds of hell that rise against your marriage. I pull down the strongholds of hell that rise against your finances. Anywhere you're watching it right now, begin to share the video, begin to invite your friends, begin to type amen. I decree by the authority of heaven, fire rise for your sake. Fire rise for your sake. Thunder arise for your sake. Fire arise for your sake. Every power fighting you.
Wahala break.
Down by fire by thunder.
Wahala break.
Every power fighting you. I pull them down by fire by thunder. In any occultist power, let them mention
Wahala don't break.
Let the thunder be destroyed. Let the fire be destroyed. Elijah prophesied. He said that God will land the blood of Jezebel and the passage of Jezebel. And it came to pass. Here is somebody, any power, any authoritative power that lock your womb, that say you will not bear a child, let God link their blood. Let God link their blood. Anybody that has ever vowed that not in their lifetime, that no good thing will come out of your father's house, I decree and I declare, since they have sold their soul to hell and they refuse to repent and to let you go, let God link up their blood. Let them fall down and die. Anybody that possesses evil power that say you will bury your children, anybody that possesses evil power that say you will bury your husband, anybody that possesses evil power that say you will bury your wife, I decree by the authority, I command them to fall down and die. Let them lick their blood. In the mighty name of Jesus, I decree by the authority of heaven, who is that man, who is that woman that has ever vowed that you will never celebrate in your life? Arise, O God, and let your enemy be scattered. Let the fire of God destroy them. Let the fire of God consume them. Let the fire of God destroy them. Let the fire of God consume them. Who lock your door? Every door they have locked against you, I command those doors to open. Who lock your glory? Any glory they have locked and bury in the grave, I command your glory to resurrect. Who bury your destiny? Any destiny they have buried, I command your destiny to resurrect. Are you watching me right now? Anywhere you are watching me, if you can share this video, if you can type amen by fire, and if you can share this video and invite your friend, if I be a true prophet, before I finish this short video, your glory will escape from the hand of the enemy. Your destiny will escape from the hands of the enemy. Oh my God. Oh my God. They kill a whole cow to marine spirit, to make sure that they frustrate your marriage. They kill a whole cow to a shrine and to make sure they frustrate your destiny. They kill a whole cow to a juju priest to make sure you come back home with pain. And I ask you just to type in, you cannot type in. And I ask you to share the video, you cannot share the video. Hey, I decree, whosoever that kill a cow because of your destiny, whosoever that kill a cow because of your marriage, whosoever that kill a cow because of your career, I call down fire upon them. Let that did you preach? As I'm talking now, the shrine is catching fire. As I'm talking now, that evil shrine, where they invoke your name, where they tie your destiny, that evil shrine, where they are feeding you in the dream every day, every night when you sleep, they must feed you in the dream. I command that shrine to catch fire. 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 Every powerful man, every powerful way, gbogbo lágbára tó ń kọjú ìjà sí ògbó ayé àwọn ọlọ́run máa sún wọn, iná ọlọ́run máa jó wọn, àwọn ọlọ́run máa sún wọn. Every powerful man, every powerful.
I'm done. Wait, how will this thing feed the poor? How will this resolve the hunger problem in Nigeria? How will this thing send the children to school? 10 million children that are after school. How will this resolve the problem? How will people learn? Is this thing going to teach people how to become personality? The principles. Is this what people are doing in churches in Nigeria? Will this one teach people how to become heroes? Will these things make people to begin to see the difference on how to honor people? Make it come. Pastor, is it what people are doing in Nigerian churches? You have done this before. You used to do that. Before you met me. This is what is obtainable. What's happening is that he's just trying to gain more likes. See, he has gotten 2 million views. 2 million views. Yeah, he has. The guy is powerful. Yes. 2 million views. It's true. Look at, make it big. Let's see the million views here. We have to see this. He has gone far. He's a tough guy. So yeah, he's a superhero. He's making advancements. Can you see 2 million views? 2 million views. The guy is tough for bullshit bonus to stay like. Ipakaji is see-through. So be like a show it now. Can you see it? 2 million views. The guy is tough. Oh. That guy is dangerous. These are the heroes. Me, I don't get 2 million views for my something. 2 million views account. Despite all my best efforts, I don't even get 1 million views. This guy has got 2 million views and counting. These are the things that Nigerians are doing. So you say this is acceptable? Pastor. This is it. And this is the in thing. You go to the churches. This is what is happening. This one they happen in Nigeria. Yeah. And sadly, this. Just going and look at all this prayer is praying. Just the shout of Amen, Amen. People are typing in Amen, Amen, Amen. That is just settling them, and that's the sad part. Because what is settling them? They are okay with just shouting Amen that it has happened. That, for example, they don't need evidence. They don't need results. He was saying that I can see the Jew priest thunder as striking him down now. How did they see it? How did he see it? But people are like, hey, you are seeing it. Amen, Amen, Amen. So how will people learn how to be compassionate, how to love, how to see the principles, or that they can be heroes, or to move from being a biomass to being a personality? He's just making some things that he does not believe what he's even saying. Can't you hear saying that? Share. His strategy is just share. He said what? Share. Just share, like, invite your friends. Share, like, invite your friends. And then goes again with witches and wizard again. As in, he's just coming up with. These guys, they're just using their innovative mind for things that are useless. He's just coming out with different ideas. They are burying cow for you. They are doing very what? Cow for it so that your door will not open. Just what door? Somebody went and buried a cow. It's just very sad. But this is actually what is happening. I've attended. It's popular. 2 million people. 2 million views. You said you have
I've attended meetings like this. I've gone.
And you were praying with them.
I went for one meeting like this. I carried chair like this on top of my head.
No, it's not possible.
And we were praying with chair on top of my
Why
head.
chair? No, I heard of stone.
And I don't know. They just said we should carry chair up. So we carried the chair that was down, and then we were praying with chair on our head.
No, it's not possible.
Pastor. Very funny things, in Nigeria. So you see things, you laugh. Very funny things, so very, 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 very funny things. Very.
Your eye don't see.
No, I mean this is. This one is something we in Nigeria. Very sad. Now that's
and people are dying out of hunger. The economy is getting worse.
Yeah.
And it's becoming the poorest country in the world.
I'm telling you. Very sad.
All the prayers.
With all the prayers. And they will now come and they will still give money. They will still give their offering.
Because it's not prayers that develop country, that resolve national problems. There is principles.
Principles, knowledge.
Knowledge, principles, secrets.
Yeah. That's it. So this man is just looking for what to eat and looking for followers. That's it.
But it's working. 2 million.
It's working actually. It's working.
Over 2 million.
It's working.
And counting.
It's working.
You think they work?
I think they work.
No, we have 300. The guy is going to 3 billion.
He needs to teach us how to do it.
And we are talking of 300. With a slab of 300.
When you see goat head, just like I can see a goat head.
Goat head?
Yeah, God is bringing you out of.
Imagine goat head.
No, I'm saying if you can just say that you have
goat head.
He's doing exploits.
Huh?
It's just crazy actually. I mean that's the conclusion of the matter. It's very crazy.
Okay, so let's see here. You might want to think twice. Okay, let's take the topic again. Why we need to see positives in others. You might want to think twice before you talk about others because your words could reveal a lot about your own personality traits, even those you may not be aware of, or clues to whether you are kind or mean. That's why we try to see positive in others. When you begin to see negative in others, it shows that you yourself or have that negativity in you. Now, like I said, we're not talking about the issues of doctrines and practices like that. But when you are criticizing individuals, it means that you have issues as well. Romans 12:17 says, repay no one evil for evil. Even if they are evil, that is not a reason for you to be seeing evil in them or to be focusing on evil in those people. Repay no evil for evil. Have regard for good things in the sight of all men. So look for good things. Regard means to look. See good things. Search out good things in people. Even if they are evil men, look for good things in them. That's the finding of there is a scientific research, a finding that says a new study which concludes that the way you view others reveals a lot about who you are, including both good and bad. So it's not just Bible that says that. Even science is now confirming this. This is a new study that concludes that the way you view others reveals a lot about who you are, including both good and bad characteristics. Hebrews 13:18 says, pray for us, for we are confident that we have a good conscience in all things, desiring to live honorably. So the idea is that we should always, have good conscience, pray for people, keep good conscience, and live honorably. And if you want to live honorably, you will not be seeing negative in people. Seeing others positively reveals your own positive traits too. A person's tendency to describe other people in positive terms is an important indicator of the positivity of the person's own personality trait. 1 Thessalonians 5:15 says, see that no one renders evil for evil to anyone, but always pursue what is good, both for yourselves and for all. Pursue only what is good. Don't bother to render evil for evil. Don't even touch evil. Only what is good. So only see what is good in people, never what is evil. There are strong associations between positively judging others and how enthusiastic, happy, kind-hearted, cautious, emotionally stable, and capable the person describes his or herself and is described by others. So when you know, the way you relate to others is the way you really are. Your own attitude towards others tells us more about yourself. If you are a mean person to people, it means you know that's who you are. Philippians 2:3-4 says, "Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than himself." So if we want to esteem others better than ourselves, we will not be seeing evil or speaking evil of them. To esteem others above ourselves is to see good in them. Let each of you look out not only for his own interest, but also for the interest of others. If you are looking for the interest of others, you will not be speaking evil of them. You'll be speaking good of them because you speak good of yourself. How positively people see others shows how satisfied they are with their own lives. If you are satisfied with your own lives, you will not be speaking evil or looking for evil to speak about others. If you are not satisfied with your life, that's when you'll be carrying rumors about other people. And how much they are liked by others. 1 Thessalonians 5:21, test all things, hold fast what is good. You see, you can test all things, and when you test all things, you will see some negative one. But don't hold on to the negative one. Hold on to what is good. Negative perceptions of other people are linked to higher levels of narcissism and antisocial behavior. That is how psychopathic people are. Ephesians 4:32, and be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ forgave us. So if we are kind to people, we will not be thinking evil or speaking evil about them. If we are tender-hearted about people, we will not be speaking evil about them. Forgiving one another. If people even wrong us, we'll forgive them. Even as God in Christ forgave us. Now, for those people who are saying, but you are criticizing other people, like I said, those are issues of doctrine, and what God said we should do is what I'm doing. The Bible says that whenever anybody is preaching or a prophet is prophesying, that not just me should do that, all of us should do that. We should all sit down, or those ones who are observing what they are saying must judge. The Bible commands us to judge, not judge the person. We are not judging the individuals, but we are judging their doctrines, we are judging their teachings, we are judging their practices, because it's for the interest of the Church of Christ. We are standing in guard for the interest of the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ. So we are not judging individuals, we are judging their practices and their doctrines. That's what we are doing. And the Bible says that do not be partaker of evil, but expose the works of darkness. So we're exposing the work of darkness, but we love people. We love perpetrators. We love the EGOs. We love the pastors. We love the bishops. But we just have to expose the wrong doctrines that they are teaching the people. Well, here we are. So, let me see. What time is it? I think we might have some calls coming in. If you want to call in, please just go to Facebook Messenger Move Agents. Facebook Messenger Move Agents, okay? Go to Move Agents and you can call in and contribute. Now, concerning the money for that pastor from Redeemed, we are still waiting for the account. We are still waiting for the account number for the pastor himself. So once we are ready, we will get in touch with you people and send the contact details to you, the account details. And then concerning people who have not yet joined the mentorship class, the mentorship class has started in the beginning of February, but we have already, the first class is already full, but the second class we are still taking in people to, we are still doing the second taking into the mentorship class. So go to sundayadelajablog.com/mentorship. sundayadelajablog.com, that's all one word, /mentorship. You'll be able to enter the mentorship program. Or you could, and for those who want to come for HMT, you can also join us in HMT by going to sundaydelijablog.com/visit. Okay, we have a caller. Hello.
Hello, good evening, dear sir.
Oh, that's my brother, Wale Banjoko.
How are you, sir?
Ekabo, welcome home.
Thank you very much. I don't know why this thing is repeating itself.
Don't worry, go ahead. We are hearing you very well.
Okay, what it is powerful show as usual. But I would like to tell you that I will tell you that my trip to Nigeria was successful.
Okay.
My plane was delayed in Paris for almost 2 days.
Ooh.
And I had a chance to talk to some of my other Nigerians that were in the plane that were also on the same flight.
Okay.
So these are basically strangers that I've never met before.
Okay.
But it's good to know that your message is getting across, because these are people coming from America, coming from different parts of Europe. But we had a chance to discuss, if they had heard about your messages that's coming out of Ukraine, and a lot of people were very much aware of it. So the message is getting across. So
people in the plane, they knew about it.
Yes, people in the plane from different parts of the world, because we had to spend a night in a hotel. Because I made friends with people. So we started talking about different subjects, and it gave me an opportunity to also talk about what is coming out of the messages coming out of Ukraine. So it's just good to hear from different parts of the country, also knowing that the message is getting across. So just to let you know that the message is getting across.
Beautiful.
But the other subject that I wanted to share on is the issue of, I'm very proud of the two young men, of what the activities they're doing in Nigeria to support people that are less privileged. But I'll give you an example of what it is that I am doing.
Okay.
I started doing it last year. Since I manage, I'm part of the management crew of a sports complex here in London.
Okay.
What I do is, because it's a sports club that has tennis and squash and different events, what I do is I collect some of the old tennis balls, old squash balls, old squash rackets, old tennis rackets, squash shoes, and I take it home to Nigeria to give it away to people who are interested in the game. I don't look for people who want to play. I go to some of the clubs that I play in, and I offer it to the coaches there who already have a crew of children or young adults that are interested in playing. So this is just a means of supporting them to be able to know that they can have canvas, they can have socks, they can have shoes, they can have clothing, they can have rackets. These are things that they don't have the money to be able to do.
Beautiful.
That's something that I do, that I have been doing myself. Like this particular trip, I pay for 2 extra suitcases as extra luggage.
Wow.
As contribution, and then I take it home. Like this time I took almost 500 tennis balls home, about 100 squash balls,
wow,
and about 50 squash rackets.
So everybody can actually do something.
That is exactly what I want to say, that everybody has the means to, whatever it is that you're doing, it can be as small as it is. You can just make an attempt. Yeah, you can make an attempt to say, this is what I want to do. If you work in a library, gather old books. If you work in a clothing shop, gather old clothing. But what I do, like I said, when I went there, so I gave it away to some of these coaches, and I also asked them that I want to see the children that they're coaching.
Yeah.
And I'll take a picture with them, and I want to see the results in terms of the progress that these kids are doing. I haven't committed anything financial. The financial aspect is just to pay for getting the stuff to Nigeria and collecting it here. Of course, my plan is, if the program is working, is to contribute towards maybe feeding the kids, by maybe later on, the 3 months down the line, if you know that they're doing the right thing with them.
But some of these kids will even say they will prefer those things, balls you are bringing.
No. Pastor Sunday, even the coaches, even the kids and the coaches, they have said that they do prefer Yeah, they prefer what I'm giving them because nobody offers them that level of instrument to do what they enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Because these are some of the kids that later on in the future, you will find that somebody's Nigeria's #1 in squash, that Nigeria's #1 in tennis. It's opportunities like this that give them a chance to be able to develop the skills that they need for the game because they're not restricted in terms of what instruments that they're working with.
Wow.
So, I mean, when I even saw some of the rackets, some of the coaches were teaching them with, the ones that I brought, which I used here, are 100% better than the ones that they're using with there. You know? But then the other thing is this. There's one thing that touched me, and I'll go on this subject of giving. There was a time that I went to one of these clubs, just outside the club. There was an area that I sat down with some friends, about 4 or 5 friends, and we're just socializing. And there was a young man that was carrying granuts on his head and selling granuts.
Wow.
And because I was home, I wanted to eat granuts. So I called him. I bought maybe 4 granuts from him, 200 naira worth of granuts, and I was eating it. Okay, but then because I know I have some of these balls in the car, I asked him. He's a young boy, probably at the age of 10 or 11. I said, "Do you want tennis balls?" He doesn't. He's working around the area where the sports facilities are. So I went to the car and I gave him 3 balls. Okay, not because he has an interest in the game, but because as a young man, even if he's carrying something on his head and he's walking out and he's bouncing a ball, there's a sense of joy that will come out of it.
Beautiful.
And he was so happy. But then I noticed some of the people that are around me who are tennis players, they did not like the idea that I gave this young man balls for free. Okay? And they said that he will not know the value of what I have given him. But for me, my answer to them was this. I don't care if he knows the value of it. If he decides to sell the ball, I don't mind, because in that way, he has already gained something rather than not gaining anything at all. But that idea, they didn't have, why would you give something to somebody that doesn't have the value? It doesn't matter. It's a gift to him. But Pastor Sunday, you know what impressed me the most? I saw this same young man 10 minutes later. He walked past where we were sitting again, and we saw another boy that was about 50 meters away from him. And he was bouncing a ball. My friends next to me now called the other boy, said, come here, because he's bouncing the ball. So where did you get that ball? He said his friend gave it to him. We now saw the boy that was selling granite also close by. We now called him. I said, did you give him this ball? He said yes. Do you understand? So for me, the most important thing was this. This man that had very little, that got 2 balls, that some people were upset about, was willing to share it with another friend of his So for me, that is a message in life, that those that have the little and yet willing to share more than those of us that have plenty that want to hoard the money.
Amazing lesson.
You understand? So for me, I just said thank God. I said for me, that's the message in life for all of us to learn. This is a boy that's hawking something. So the ball that he could have played with, he can play football with it, he can bounce it around the wall, he can be enjoying it, have an extra one. He didn't sell it. He actually gave it away to somebody else.
Wow.
So just a message, I think in anybody, we all have different things that we have that we can give away that can help somebody else's life.
Beautiful.
So that is just my life lesson for today's show.
The best testimony. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Keep doing what you're doing. God bless you, and keep up the good work, team. And Mr. Anu, happy birthday again. God bless you guys.
Thank you, sir. That's Mr. Banjoko right there. Okay, I think we have other callers. So we are going to, let's see what other callers have to say. But this is wonderful. This is great. What a testimony. This is just super. Hello?
Hello, DSA.
Yes, sir. Is that Mr. Bayo? Is that Mr. Bayo?
Yeah, this is Paul.
Paul?
Yeah, this is Paul.
Okay, yeah. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, sir.
Apostle Paul?
Yes, this is Paul. Apostle Paul.
Yes, sir.
It's not just a title, it's a responsibility, Pastor.
Yes. Yes.
God bless you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I thank you for all this that is happening and all the givings and all, seeing positivity in people. I kind of, the Holy Spirit helped me to define prosperity. I've had the people, they call them apostle of prosperity or whatever it is. But God helped me to define for me what prosperity is, which I've shared, I think, with this platform before, that prosperity is the ability to use God's ability in us to help humanity. I repeat it. Prosperity is the ability to use God's ability in us to help humanity. It can be in financial prosperity, it can be physical prosperity, it can be mental prosperity, no matter what, anyhow it comes, it must not be finance, it must not just be money. For example, Jesus Christ, when the 5,000 sat, I love what Victor said the other day. He said they were like 45,000 because women are not mentioned. Now, after feeding them spiritually, he also fed them physically. Means anyhow we can feed people, either mentally, spiritually, with food or whatever. Let's try do this. In 2007, Pastor, I think I had a friend of mine. I shared some of my pictures on Movement profile. I sent him pictures of my evidence. I went to a village. I was born in the north. My parents are from the east. But I left the north that time with my friend, and we traveled to a village in Ondo State, a community if you see the place, because we're looking for where poverty, my friend told me, let's go to where there's darkness. I was like, Bishop is a place of darkness. So let's go to a place where people are impoverished. We went there, we went to meet the king. They don't know us before. So the king told us he had a dream, we were coming. We bought foodstuff and everything. We got there, we met the king. After talking to the king, that this is who we are and all that, shared the word with the king received Christ. He called he sent his town crier to call everybody from the village to gather before us. We shared the word and we distributed things for them. Pastor, I will not lie to you. I did not receive financial reward back, but what I received was the kind of insight, the kind of ideas I began to have, an understanding of the things of the Spirit. The Bible talks about God will open now these windows of heaven and pour so much blessings.
Yeah.
Pastor, it's beyond. I found out that it's not even about God is opening heaven to give you money. No, God will impregnate you with ideas, with potentials, with things that you're like, wow, no, I can't tap into this thing. It's not because this is God, And that's why I tell people, we're all pregnant. Pregnancy is not just for women. Everybody gets pregnant. But it all depends on what you're pregnant with. And I have vowed that I will not abort. I will not have miscarriage. Just like Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, the CEO of Facebook, Bill Gates. These were men who were pregnant with ideas. You yourself, DSA, you were pregnant with an idea. You're bringing out books to help even generations to come, which is posterity. So I'm so blessed with this. Now, Pastor, I want to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
A very simple question. The Bible says, blessed are those who go to the house of mourning and to the house of pleasure. I don't know that scripture. What does it really mean? I'm asking because I want to share something with you, Pastor. What does it really mean? It is more blessed to go to a house of mourning than to a house of pleasure.
Well, I already preached it here one time, or more than even one time, that the way I understand it is that you have more lessons to learn when you go to a place. Yes, when you go to the house of mourning, you have more lessons to learn there, because that is the end of all men. That is the continuation of that phrase. He said, because the ending of our lives is in death. And because then it makes you to think about it. So you're thinking about living a more meaningful life when you are not, because when you are dancing, when you are going to the house of pleasure, you are not thinking, you are dancing, you are living for excitement. You are excited, you are merry, you are, just rejoicing. So you are not reflecting. But when you go into the life of the morning where somebody just died, then you are reflecting on your own life and the ending of your life, so that you make a more meaningful living.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much, DSA. DSA, the reason I'm asking this is that I was privileged. I will mention the name of the church, Living Faith Church. And even the one I was pastoring her before they chased me away. I'm not surprised why they chased me away, because when Jesus said, a time will come in my name, they will chase you, so they will try to kill you. So I'm not surprised why this is happening. Living Faith Church at that time, Pastor, even here, I was surprised that it's only good news. Hallelujah, yes, good news. But do you know that when somebody passes on, they don't announce it on food?
Wow.
I'm so shocked. Sometimes it makes me so scared. Let me use an example of the here that I am. There is a man, he was a prominent man who has given his tithe and his seed. In short, he was used as an example in the church for people to also emulate. They always talk about him, call him and all that. But when this man passed on, Do you know it was not mentioned? None of us as members, nobody knew. And as I was an associate pastor, then I called the other team and said, why? They said it's not a good news. And I'm like, it's not a good news. We have lost a brother. Our brother, who is part of us, is no longer on the platform.
Now,
We just want to mourn with him, and they're telling us that no, it's not good news, that we only do good news here.
Wow.
And I'm like, and I've seen this happening in most churches. They don't announce it at all. They don't even bring it up on to say, oh, we're in church, we have lost one of our brothers who are going to be with the Lord. The family, they just keep it, they just read it one side and continue their ministry. So it really baffles me where the love is. Where is the love? Is it just what to get from people, and that's all? So it really saddens my heart, because really, Pastor, it's really happening here. And I questioned the pastor was angry when I questioned him. I said, no, Pastor, you should say this. You know, this guy gives his tithe here. He gives his offering, he gives everything. Now he's no more. It was later they called me and told me the reason why they don't want to announce is that the pastor instructed him and warned him not to travel because he came to give his tithe, half of his tithe. And the pastor told him, no, you're not supposed to give half of your tithe here. You're supposed to give the full tithe here. And the man said to the pastor, no, there's another man of God who has really helped my life. So I shared my tithe into two. I want to give some part here. The pastor told him, no, don't do that. You give all here. You don't eat in this restaurant and go and pay in another restaurant. Do you do that? And the guy just shared the tithe into two as he said he was led. Gave half of it to this church. Gave the other half to that person who has been of help to him. And he traveled. And that was it. We had that he passed on. And the pastor is now saying the reason why he had to pass on was disobedience, because why? He shared his time.
Wow.
So God help us.
What kind of explanation is that one?
Sir?
What kind of explanation is that one? It's a silly explanation.
Sir? You know, he said that he was supposed to bring his tithe, the whole tithe. He said bringing the whole tithe into the storehouse. So the man who passed on shared his tithe into two, like, okay, maybe DSA platform is blessing my life and I'm eating food, you know. So he took half of the tithe and sent to that platform. Then he took another tithe to another platform, another ministry or house or temple or building or wherever they call it, where he's also blessed. And the pastor, because when the guy now died, I was trying to know what happened. It was not announced that this man passed on, so that we can mourn, you know, because not only, as you rightly said, pleasure. No, sometimes we need to know that, we need to take a break and know that life is not, you know, it's like a journey. We need to leave posterity behind and all that. But the explanation he gave now was that the reason why that guy had to die or pass on was because he disobeyed his instruction by not bringing all the tithes. He brought some of the tithes and went to pay other part of the tithe the other way. So he capped it by concluding that you don't eat in a restaurant and go and pay in another restaurant. I mean, this is where you eat the word of God from. So you don't go outside this restaurant and quote, because the church is like a restaurant where you come to eat food. So you don't eat food from this restaurant and go pay in another restaurant. So the guy disobeyed his instruction, and that's why he passed on. Now, this is a fair factor for everyone who is there to know that they shouldn't share their tithe or make sure they bring all the tithe to the house.
It's just rubbish.
I'm telling you,
that
sir.
One I just
so pathetic.
Not
so pathetic. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much for the work, and God bless you.
Blessings.
All right, sir.
Okay. We have another caller. Yep. Let's see who is there. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes, who is calling?
Hello. Yes, sir.
Who is calling? From where?
Good evening, sir. This is Paul.
Oh, yeah, Paul from India.
Yes, sir.
Only Paul, according
Good evening,
to you.
Sir?
Glad to hear your voice.
Thank you so much, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you for the good job you are doing. It's really wonderful to be a part of this platform.
Thank you, sir.
I've been so blessed. I'm beginning to tell myself now that, in fact, if I continue to listen to this and put it to practice, it will be easier for me to fulfill purpose and be a millionaire.
Yes.
Just listening to this.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, sir.
Yes, I'm hearing your contribution now.
Yes, sir. I wanted to share an experience, a personal experience that I have when I came to India last year, July. You know, I was asking God, Lord, what should I do now? You know, I was really, I want to know what next for me. I'm not just here to study. I want to know what's next for me, what God wants me to do.
Yes.
You know, as I was praying, there was an event I won an award, and they said, okay, if I write a book, they are going to publish my book for free, and then that's the prize for the award. So I said, okay, that's the case. I begin to write a book there. So now I still continue as I'm still writing. I'm just doing some finishing touches now. So I still continue. Then I said, okay, apart from my normal field work, which is had to do with my program, I just joined an NGO here that deals with children and youth. So I'm beginning to help them seriously. So the reason I'm sharing this is that there is always something we can give.
Yeah.
There is nobody, there is none of us saying this because of those people that are on this platform. There's none of us that does not have something they can do. It is not always about money. You know, I am just happy by the previous caller who shared about the sporting materials that he sent to Nigeria. Pastor, do you know that the only one time that I stole when I was a child was because I was kind of I was slow, I was dull when I was a child. So when we go to school now, because I am the slow type, they bring ball.
I was just like that. I couldn't read till I was 10 years old.
Pastor, you can't believe that. I couldn't write. I couldn't write until I was a teenager.
I couldn't read and write too.
Wow. So now, they will not choose me now when they are playing the football. I never get selected, and I wanted to feel like a child, you know, to play football. So one day I went and took 10 naira. With the hope, and they sell Wembley football, I think they sell it around 8 naira then. So unfortunately for me, when I got to the place where I was going to pay for the football, I gave the woman money, and then she gave me another 10 naira. So it was two 10 naira that I took, thinking that it was one. So it was easy for them to detect at home. And the reason behind this was just because I want to feel among. I want to be like every child, to be able to play football. You know, to be able to also select my own people. Since it is my ball now, they will not engage me. So little things that we do for children, or that we do for people that are in need, it matters a lot. It can actually prevent evil that we don't know. So it is if evil happens that we become aware of it, right? But the ones that are prevented, that we prevent by one good act or the other that we do, we never know, and at times we don't appreciate them. So every one of us can do something. Like Dr. Anu was saying, he was talking about feeding people. I know what it means to be hungry. And in fact, I suffer ulcer for many years, for more than 10-15 years. As a teenager, up to when I was a youth, I was dealing seriously with serious ulcer until when I got born again in 2008. That was when God healed me. I mean, this is something severe. I have to eat 5-6 times daily.
Wow.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So if there's an opportunity for somebody to be able to help somebody, you never can imagine the implication of it. So I am just going to share something that opportunities come. In most cases, it comes disguising. It will come in like hard work. It could come like, I'm not going to benefit anything from it. And in a way, our brain is being programmed to to only appreciate or want to invest in something that will directly benefit us. So and that's why a lot of people just they see people suffering, but it's as if they are blind to them.
Wow.
They don't really see them. And that's why churches, I mean, can you imagine, sir, that our churches in Nigeria, pastors are riding in private jets, just all in the name of saying we want to go and minister in Ghana, or we want to go and minister in the US. And people from your own constituency are hungry. So see, I am in India right now, and so I can tell when you say India is poor, all right? So, and India now saying if the current report or current situation now is that Nigeria is currently poorer than India, it means we are in trouble.
Yeah.
Because this is a country of 1.3 billion people, and we are only about 180, 190 million.
Yeah.
With all the resources that we have, and our pastors are featuring among the top 10 richest pastors in the world. I think it's really a shameful thing, and it's as if they just it's the matter of suspending what makes us human. That which makes us human has been suspended in us. So we are just living like I don't know what name to call it. It's just kind of unfortunate. So, sir, I want people on this platform to know that our painful past experiences, in most cases, have a linkage with our call and purpose here on earth. So the experiences, good or bad, that we have at times, the opportunities that we have in most cases, it is because there is somebody that God has positioned to benefit from that thing. It's not just, life is not just about you getting a job or getting married and getting something to eat. You know, all these things will pass. I wrote a chapter in my book that we are meant to live forever. And the concept of that is that somebody will, I mean, we will forever live in the heart of somebody if we impact the life of that person. I have never heard your voice, all right? When I read your book in 2010, Church Shift and Money Won't Make You Rich, and it totally transformed my mentality. It totally transformed my life. I was already on the line of becoming a pastor in Redeem, all right? But these books, these materials that I saw, changed my path.
Wow.
It just, and sincerely, from that moment, I became different in the church. I've always been different, but there was something that became unique in me, that, you know, people began to see me as something was really wrong with this guy. And I really want to get to that level where people will notice that something is really wrong about this guy. So when people began to point it out that something was wrong, okay, I said, it means I'm getting to where I want to get to.
Yeah.
So people don't, we are not brought up to realize our full potentials. We've been limited to see only what we eat. People just going about only what to eat. When they see me in India now, they think maybe, oh, I am being sponsored by the government, because they think Nigeria is poor, so you don't have money to come and sponsor yourself in an expensive school here. But Nigeria is not poor. It's just a shame. Anyway, thank you so much, sir.
Wow.
Just give another opportunity to somebody else.
Powerful testimony. Powerful.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some more callers. Please go ahead. We are all here Waiting for your contribution. Hello?
Hello, DSA?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, DSA.
Yes, is that Trace? Yeah?
Yes, it's me, DSA.
Okay. Nice to hear your voice.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Very well.
Okay, yes. I just wanted to contribute to today's topic based on what Anu and Victor are doing. Just to say, my contribution will just be a quick one. The day you can you hear me?
Very well, very well.
Okay, the day you had the interview with Opeyemi?
Yes.
About how he got the children off the street. He got 10 children off the street.
Yes.
I was so inspired about that because I have always been one of these. When I was young, when I was growing up, I used to read a lot. Not so much so now, but when I was growing up, if you want to punish me, you take a book away from me. I could read like a book in a day. I always loved to read. Not so much now that I'm busy, but when I was young, I used to read a lot. So I know the value of education. And also I work in the education sector now. So when I saw him talking about how, he's using his tithe now, and he's got 10 children off the streets, I was so touched. In fact, the next morning, I told my husband about it, and we rang him. We were on our way to work. We rang him in the car. He was so excited. We chatted, and I promised him that I was going to get books for those children. So since then, I've been collecting books.
Yeah.
I've been collecting books because I work in education. So what I've been doing is collecting, story books for the children. And my plan is, by God's grace, by the end of the year, when I'm going to Nigeria, I'm planning to go with a suitcase of books.
Wow.
Which I'm going to give to Opeyemi for those children. And I'm just going to say, just like the callers before have said, everybody can do something.
Yeah.
It's not difficult. You just have to think about something that you can do, and you'll make a difference in a child's life. Those books, I know some of those children, they will read those books, and those books will change their lives. Today, I'm not the most intelligent person, but I know because I read when I was growing up. There's hardly any topic you will talk about that I don't know something about.
Wow.
And it's because when I was growing up, I read. And I know that there are lots of people out there, wherever you work, just like a previous caller has already said today, the guy who was talking about where he works. Think about where you work. Think about how where you work can affect, those people around you, the children around you, the young people around you. There is something that where you work can affect, or wherever you are, can affect the people around you. Everybody can do something. Everybody can do something to help Nigeria. Thank you, sir. That's all I wanted to say.
Beautiful.
God bless you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Trey.
Thank you. God bless you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. That is probably the last call for today. So we are going to let you go, and tomorrow we'll continue. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.